Hi, and welcome to LNA Does Audio Stuff. Hey, another All About Ableton Live video is here. Go and have a look at all my All About Ableton Live videos here. I have actually a full playlist full of detailed videos about Ableton Live. So go there, alright? So today's video is about drum bus. Drum bus is an analog style drum processor. It adds color, it adds zizim, not sure what that was. Glues them all together. It makes it all happen, makes your drums great. Okay, let's get into this tutorial and now. Okay, so let's get started with this. So I have here very simple drum kit. So I have kick, snare, hi-hat, and then like a percussion congas on the top of it. Okay, so we want to use a drum bus for this. Drum bus, traditionally, the bus sound of it, that we send all our drums into one aux track, and then we can treat them together as one through this aux track. But in Ableton Live we don't have aux tracks, but we have group tracks and then we have return tracks. But in this case we can create a drum bus using groups. So I'm just going to highlight all the tracks and then just right click or Command G, Control G, and we're going to group them like that. And then we can rename this as drum bus. So let's just add a drum bus there. So firstly, I'm gonna go to, I'm in Ableton Live 11. I go here and drive and color and drum bus. There we go. Cool. So that is now controlling this, all of them, because they're all going through this same channel. With the drum bus, we can actually control the dynamics as well as the frequency spectrum balance of all these drums together. And that is what creates the kind of glue and togetherness between these drums and makes them bigger and boomier and stronger and bunchier and all that's fun. We're gonna start with first is trim. We can control the input, the amount that is coming in. So this will kind of work together with this distortion area. So it will affect how drive works. But three types of distortion that can be applied. Then we have compression. It's actually adding fixed compression by just clicking one thing. Purpose of that is because we want to balance out the group of the drums with some fast attack and medium release, moderate ratio, and kind of high makeup gain as well. So this is treated before this distortion is happening, before we distort it. So it's even it, makes it more together. Okay, after that we have three ways to distort our drums. So this can be applied to the input signal by just clicking one of these. So usually we have soft, and what that means is wave shaping distortion. And if you're not sure what wave shaping distortion means, I've actually just made a video about saturator, and in that you can understand a little bit more what wave shaping and wave shapers are. Soft, more subtle way of distorting and adding color and harmonics into the signal. Medium is, well, the type of distortion that is happening with medium is limiting distortion. So we're limiting the signal so that it starts distorting. And then we have hard, which means that we are adding a clipping. We are adding clipping distortion with the added boost for the bass and the low end. Okay, and then we have drive. And drive is the amount of drive added into the input signal. Okay, so I just want to explain the drive and the distortion modes as well as compression and maybe the other controls as well, actually using only one sine wave. So I have a sine wave here in a wavetaper oscillator. So it's one pure sine wave, so that means that it's easier to you to see it in the spectrum analyzer and what this drum bus actually does. Let's just look at it in the default settings. Okay, here we go. We have one sine wave here. And if I put the drum bus completely off, you see that there's not much harmonics going on. There's some going on here on the very high end, but it's quite pure around the area where the actual wave is going. So if I just now activate the drum bus, you see that this one harmonic appears already because we're in a soft wave shaping distortion. So have a look what happens when I add drive now. Firstly, we're getting another harmonic appearing here. Okay, let's do the same with the medium. So we have the medium wave here. Let's add drive. Oh, and every time it kind of pops up, you can see the harmonics. The limiting distortion is every time there's the peak, it actually adds a lot of more harmonics into the signal. And then let's go to hard and have it without anything. Firstly, we just again have that extra harmonic there, and let's bring drive up all the way up. And it doesn't do like very complex high end, but it just adds these extra 2 harmonics here. So we are adding the fixed compression that is already in drum bus. And check this out. It kind of pulls out all the harmonics that were there. So without the compression, we don't see them. And with the compression, we do. The medium one is much more. The harmonics that otherwise had the decay are now staying there. And when we use this same technique with drums, we can actually add a lot of color into the drums to be able to make them more coming out of the mix more. They're more present, they're more clear. So this is now with drive and some distortion and compression. Without. It just sounds more full. It sounds, of course, it's compressed and all that, but also it just sounds more vibrant. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Then we're going to go to the mid-high frequency shaping tools, which are these here. So we have crunch, damp, and transient. Crunch affects the amount of sine-shaped distortion that is being applied to that mid-high frequencies. So let's just have a look at this in action. Oh, look at the harmonics that already, when I add a little bit of crunch, look at them going. Damp, because what damp does is it's actually a low pass filter that we can cut away high frequencies. So as you could see, when we add crunch, when we add distortion, we are getting a lot of high frequency, the harmonics going on. It's very complex. And actually when it's with drums, because we have hi-hats, we have snares, it can sound a bit nasty when we have too much going on the high end. So this dampening control actually allows us to filter them away. The damp control is actually much easier to show with the drums. Yes. Okay, so then we have transient. So basically it emphasizes or de-emphasizes, depending if you go to minus or plus, the transient that are over 100 hertz. So when we are on positive, so example +1, it adds fast attack and increases sustain. So with drums especially, it can make things more realistic, more like sound like a room sound. Well, less dry. Because the opposite is -1, and that one also adds a fast attack, but it decreases the sustain. So it makes it sound more dry, more sharp, less like a room sound. So let's just have a look at that in action. Okay, so our signal is now around 130 hertz, which is usually where the kicks locate if it's not a boomy kick. Okay, so this is where we can enhance our low end, so usually kick. Okay, so I usually like using this for some basses as well, any kind of low end stuff, and especially if you're doing sample flipping or sample manipulation using drum bus and this area to the samples, you can create kick sounds out of almost anything. It's great. So firstly, we have the boom control here. So we are actually applying a resonant filter to the sound. So let's just see what happens to the sine wave when we are adding this. So this is the original. Oh, and look at this. So we're adding this boom sound into, now it's in, where does it say, 50 hertz. So you can see that in 50 hertz, exactly on 50 hertz, we added this peak, and that is the boom. Also, following the bass from this meter can help you to detect the bass and the boom when you can't hear it. And with the frequency control, we can select where do we want it to go. So do we want to have it in 90 hertz where it's now there, or do we have it 30 hertz example, which is there. And decay, so it's basically the decay time of all the low frequencies. So when boom is in 0, this affects only the incoming signal, but when the boom is up, it will also affect the boom signal here. What this is great for, this detecting here, is the fact that we can actually find the closest MIDI note using this helping thing here. So example, let's say our song is in C minor and I want to tune my boom into C. So I'm not really sure what frequency that is, but when I kind of use this meter, the frequency meter here, I can find, okay, C, okay, now you can see on the bottom here, it says C1. And when I click this, it goes to the closest MIDI note, so it will definitely be C1. And these headphones here, we can actually only listen to the low end, only listen to boom without any of the other sounds. If I add example this to the drum kit, so example, now this kick is very high in its frequency, it's quite dull, so let's make more boomy out of it. Much more. And then I put the headphones on, so I can only hear the low boom. Let's go to E, and then I just want to click from here to make sure that it's definitely in E. Let's make the decay of it a little bit shorter. And the only control we have left is the dry wet control, which is here, which allows how much of this drum bus are we applying into all the drums that are routed into drum bus channel. And then we have output control, where we can gain stage our whole situation. So the output of the signal will be the same as when it came in. So our mix has a nice headroom. There we go. That's all about drum bus. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, please hit the bell icon, and also thank you so much for every single Patreon family member who are all listed here. Thank you so much for being part of my Patreon family. I have so much more stuff and uncut production videos, walkthroughs, all kind of fun stuff in there. So if you want to be part of this family, then go to the link down below. Otherwise, I see you here next Sunday, and yeah, for another video every single Sunday, because that's my thing. Okay, see you soon. Bye.